There's a popular saying, shoot for the stars. Even if you miss, you will land on the moon. That's the mindset I've adopted as I take on my first hyper-realistic portraits. I've created several realistic paintings in the past, but this time, I want to push my limits and try something truly challenging. My inspiration came from seeing Aristotle's hyper-realistic work at Artex Lagos this year. Standing in front of his piece, I was amazed and told myself, I need to give this a shot. In this video, I'll be sharing my journey into hyperrealism, the process, the challenges, and the lesson I learned along the way. I made some mistakes, so stick around to see what they were and how you can avoid them in your own work. Let's get started. I started by creating sketches using the grid method. To do this, I gridded the image on my laptop using Photoshop, which allowed me to create slim, precise lines and adjust the opacity for better clarity. I transferred the grid onto the canvas using a pencil, long ruler and a stick. If you are unfamiliar with the grid method, it involves creating a series of square shapes on both the reference image and your canvas. This helps ensure accuracy and proper proportion in your drawing. Once the sketch was done, it was time to start painting. I began with the hand because, for me, hands are the most challenging and tiring parts to paint. If I had my way, I would avoid them altogether. But this time, I decided to face my fear and tackle the hardest part first. To achieve the hyper-realistic look, I started by focusing on the wrinkle and the skin pores on the hand. I used tiny brushes to create delicate wrinkle patterns and textures. Quick tip: if it's your first time attempting hyperrealism, use a large canvas. It allows you to create intricate details more easily. Once you have mastered the technique, you can switch to smaller sizes. Starting with the neck, I began by painting the values, blending them, and then adding the skin textures. Pro tip: the reference photo should be high quality and show detailed skin textures. This makes it easier to study the skin pattern, light source, and directions of the lines on the skin. Keep in mind that these details vary across different areas of the body and reference images. At one point, I wasn't satisfied with the outcome of the skin texture. I searched for a realistic painting tutorial on YouTube but only found pencil art tutorials. Since I've watched some of those before, I adopted their technique by painting the skin layer first and then adding the textures. important tip. When working with oil paint, adding textures can be tricky. You can't add them immediately because the colors will sink in, and if you wait too long for the base layer to dry completely, blending becomes difficult. What worked for me was letting the paint dry about 70% before adding the skin textures. To speed up drying, I mixed a small amount of gloss paint, a household paint used for metals, with my oil colors. This reduced drying time and helped me stay on schedule. To create the skin textures, I started with the light areas, adding dots or lines in shades like pink, light yellow, off-white, or light grey. For the dark areas, I used various shades of brown, depending on the lighting and specific area of the skin. I moved on to the eyes, lips and teeth. As usual, began with a base layer, then added the details. Quick tip for eyes and teeth. Avoid painting them pure white. Instead, use a base color that's slightly off-white and then build up the details. One of the biggest mistakes I made during this project was not knowing when to use a liner brush versus regular brushes. Initially, I used liner brushes to create dots on the face, which the results weren't what I wanted. Later, I discovered that regular brushes work better for creating dots. Eyeliner brushes were more effective for adding dark tones. I wish I could start over, but I'm taking this as a valuable lesson for my next attempt at hyperrealism. This project took me 70 hours over the span of 2 weeks to complete. I hope you enjoyed the journey so far, because now it's time to review the final masterpiece. If you found this video helpful or enjoyed watching it, please share it so it can reach more people. Don't forget to like and hit the notification bell for more art tips and adventures. Let's keep shooting for the stars together. See you in the next video. Bye.